Hello, it is Esther coming at you from Ecochamber, and today we're going to continue the double diamond of design. This time we're on the second stage, which is the define stage. So I did talk a little bit about the double diamond of design, but if you forgot and would like a bit of a refresher, we're just gonna look at another small graph. This one doesn't even have the labels, so honestly it isn't the best, but it may help you with understanding, and honestly at this point you should probably already know, so that's a little hint, but okay. I like this one. I think this is the one that I looked at before, and we're looking at it again. Yep. So we're scoping down the focus now, and we're going to the define. So this is the last part of the first diamond, and by the end of this video I hope to have a clearer understanding, a very clear understanding of what problem Ecochamber is looking to solve, can help with. So I did write down a couple of notes. I think there's still more research I'd like to do, but of course, in the back of my mind, the past 3 years have been jammed packed with experiences, first-hand experiences of growing gardens, understanding what the people that are growing the gardens need by being one of them, having conversations, texting them, reminding them, conducting focus groups, surveying people, observing them intensively, interviewing them, all to discover what the problem is that people who are looking to grow good gardens have. And I think we got some pretty solid information on the problem to at least paint a bit of a picture with where we're at. It's not much, and of course I feel a bit ashamed that this is all I really have. I do have a lot on TikTok and Instagram, TikTok and Twitter, and I did look through it, but honestly, for the sake of, it's a lot, and it's easy to get distracted with the social media platforms because they are beautiful and social. Maybe we will share a little bit more, but for the most part, I just found myself getting pretty lost whenever I would look at the Ecochamber account on, let's say, TikTok, to better understand what the problem was. Just because of the nature of the videos, it kind of pushes, well, it shares what I'm learning, but it's a bit hard. The comments are a little bit all over the place. There are some good ones, but yes. Alright, there's a few things that I still haven't totally done with when it comes to defining. And so we're going to do those today. So looking back at my book from 2020, I believe this was 2023. So when I began this book, and this was just a notebook with a few things. Oh, actually 2024. Wow. Very cool. Gosh, and I'm looking at the progress, and there's been progress, but I'm also realizing that, again, a lot of these things were really focused on the solution and trying to push people to understand what it was without really understanding the problem. So that's why we're going through all of this, so that when it comes to the building section, I'm putting the energy appropriately in and have a clear understanding of the outcome that I am looking for. Okay, I want to grow good gardens, but what does that actually mean in terms of metrics and systems to get there? And that's what I'm hoping to define and really hone in this video. So, alrighty. So we have some things. Let's go over a quick recap before we create the define page. Keeping in mind that we want to define the scope of the problem that we're addressing. And I'm pretty excited. We're going to do a mind map. And I think we're going to do the mind map on the Discover page because it's kind of like a part of it, if that makes sense. This is literally, like, I think one of the best pieces of information I got. And let's transition you guys over. Okay. Don't mind me just like adjusting everything a little bit at a time. Okay, so it's a little bit brighter. Okay. So manpower needed to tackle bigger areas and the capacity to get it all done. So I went ahead and I asked ChatGPT some questions because they kind of have an idea, and I've shared various things about ecochamber, the information that I've got collected, so they have a good arsenal and understanding. And so I made a document yesterday. I took an energy drink, made an account for this community garden at Farmingdale, came up with the strategy thanks to my family for being like, why don't you just do this? The garden doesn't look good. Guys, when I tell you that it's been quite crazy just because of the pressure I kind of feel for, we have a garden, it looks it looks bad. It looks not good at all. And trying to find calm and find a way to make it work when it just seems really discouraging. It's interesting. It definitely is pretty interesting, and I'm just doing my best to like stay optimistic and practical in terms of like, okay, what can we do here, and how can we maintain the garden really and truly in a healthy fashion. Okay. So I have two pictures here, and I'm going to show them to you really quickly. I just feel like it will give a bit more context to what we have here. So here is the garden in the winter, and you can see the pathways are kind of like made. It's still definitely, there's still a lot of opportunity for work to be done on it. I think that's for sure, but that's that's a garden. That's what we have. And I have another one that I will show you very soon, my friend. Just let me get the sizing kind of similar. La 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 la. And so this is the more recent one from this spring. And of course, it looks a little bit more outgrown. Some areas where we tilled are still okay. But it seems like there's less order. And it can be kind of discouraging when it's like, okay, things are finally coming to... things are not looking like they're going the way that maybe you may want them to. So today we're going to make a mind map, and I really want to reflect on this problem of managing a garden, because it's pretty discouraging when things don't go your way. You're managing a garden and the things just aren't going the way that you thought they would be. It's pretty discouraging. So that's what we're gonna be just doing what we can do with today's session. And yeah, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna make a mind map. Okay, so this is a mind map. I'll use their mind map, which is, oh no, I want the mind map. Very simple. Alright. So, what is the problem that we're looking to define? I think... oh my gosh. Wait, what? Okay. So I think the biggest thing and what I've been able to do, that gardens getting abandoned, and I'll start there because the first garden that I had the opportunity to regenerate was a garden. So it had some of the, makings of the garden. It was easier to cultivate because it had the structure that somebody put down, but unfortunately they weren't able to maintain it. And I think that's the biggest thing with everything. It's like, how do you maintain it? So I'll share really quickly. I have a couple of things that we'll just X out to keep things simple. my goodness. Trying to like show this with you, but ooh. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. Oh my gosh. Alright. Interesting. Alright, so, very interesting. I'm trying to get you guys to see it, but I don't mind for right now. So weird. Did you, So, I want you guys to see this, but of course, oh, there we go. Okay, let's just... So you're gonna see a short video, and this is a garden that, when it started, of course, had a lot less than what it has now. And this was an abandoned garden. It had, I believe, 12 beds. And one shed that kind of followed apart a little bit. The biggest thing was that it was abandoned, and I think that's something I've been working with, finding peace, with everything. It's like, okay, we have to revive the gardens, and I think the best way is to start with ones that are looking for that help before trying, for instance, like I showed you, start a whole new one and do all of the landscaping required on a very tight budget and not big capacity. I think that's one thing I'm noticing, and I just wanted to say because, yeah, I notice it. So gardens getting abandoned, I think that's a problem that I'm going to try to solve. Why would a garden get abandoned? Maybe traffic? Decreases? Not popular area. No one knows about it. Nobody come for my spelling. Okay. Alright. Okay. Why else, traffic would decrease from a garden? People are deterred. Yeah, nobody wants to go in the middle of the bush, especially if there's like any threat of ticks or other bugs, Okay. Ugh. Not enough manpower. And this is cool because I have experience in this realm from my handful of years growing gardens at this point. Physical, like aging, too old, or like disabilities. I don't even want to say too old, but like not. Disabled, frail, elderly, community needs help. So a lot of the gardeners that I know are a bit older, and they're now physically, it's strenuous for them to work in the garden like they once did. For instance, one of the gardens, I think it was chamber number 3 or chamber number 4. Yeah, I think chamber number 2 was my sister. Chamber number 3 was a school, and chamber number 4 was this lady who had a stroke but had a really beautiful garden for many years. But after the stroke, she just physically could not do the work. And so I tried to help her she bought a lot of plants, so I tried to help her by, weeding out and putting them in the ground, but she wasn't able to upkeep them. And I think that's one of the reasons why gardens get abandoned, right? There's no one taking over. There's no succession plan. So I know this says paste a link from a YouTube video, but I don't really want that. Can I just make it normal? Okay, whatever. How did they connect them though? This is my question. They took this line, and they took this line, and they did that. And maybe they just didn't want the end to be... Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Lack of manpower. You could say this also has to do with no appropriate available tools. And of course, you don't need many, but if you are physically not that strong, having good tools, I'm not super strong, but having a good shovel makes all the difference when it comes to weeding, or a good fork, or even a good stick. It can be so helpful. So yeah, I think that's definitely worth noting. Usually it's not lack of tools, but it could be, a garden getting abandoned. Disappointing crop yield, maybe. I look at the garden right now, which is at risk for getting abandoned. And I think it actually had pretty good yield considering all things. It wasn't like we were really watering it. We didn't fertilize anything, and we planted really late in the season, but we still got a good handful of cherry tomatoes. I think there's some rosemary still there, dill. I think there's an onion. It's okay. I think it's okay. But disappointing crop yield can be discouraging, and I think most importantly for this one, because so much money was raised, it can be a bit discouraging. Imagine you're sponsoring a garden and then the garden barely produces anything and is super weedy. So yeah, we got weeds, outcompeting crop. We got disheartened contributors. You have, well, with the disappointing crop yield, I think the worst part is that you don't have anything, can't share with the community. Like, if you have a questionable tomato, you're not gonna share it with someone. If you have a beautiful tomato, right, you're gonna give it to your neighbors, you're gonna give it to people that will admire and appreciate it. So I think that's important to note. Having a good crop yield, it incentivizes contributors, people to come and help cultivate the garden so that they can have a bit of that harvesting experience for themselves. At least that's what I think. Okay. What else? When a garden isn't good and it gets abandoned, it just becomes it's in disarray. When a garden is good and it gets abandoned, there's always the opportunity for it to be regenerated quite easily because the underlying structure is there. So I think having a poor structure, like, is important. It is important. It is important. It's important. Yeah. It's important. So let it be known that this is kind of important. So a good garden kind of supports itself, even after abandonment for a little bit, of course. The hope is that it is never abandoned, and people will always seek out this resource because of its healing properties and just that it's a beautiful space, to give to God, to give and to get so much out of. So that's always the hope, I think, with the garden stuff. It's not always the case, though. So gardens getting abandoned. I think a poor structure, again, with, if it deters people because it's unsafe. Like, the structures may fall apart. Pathways. Signage. Those actually really help. And then, like, a shelter, I think. Shelter is good for the community if it rains, just to have a place where you can even put the harvest. It's all really good stuff. So if you don't have any signage, how do you know it's a garden, first of all? Well, if it doesn't look the part, then that's really hard, right? So if it has a poor structure and like beds, of course, the shelter is more of like storage. And then of course, a place for waste deposits. And that includes compost then you might have one for recyclables and the garbage. And I think those are like the main things. You need like pathways to know where to walk around the garden, signage so people know what it is, or, you know, what you plant, just like you will tag what you plant in a garden, and storage for things that you don't want to get wet, of course, tools, and harvested vegetables if you're putting those to the side. And then the beds themselves, and then waste deposits or waste, you know, just areas where you know this is where this goes to be discarded or processed. I think that's pretty helpful, and right now I'm gonna upload a picture, because I might as well, of the garden bed, because I can. Why not? So I want to do 2 actually, so maybe I'll duplicate this line. Okay. Alright, never mind, that didn't work. Let's just put it where it needs to go. So you have these 2, and I'm gonna make them pretty clear which one is which, so we can kind of see. Okay. Okay. Trying to make it a little bit easier on my eyeballs. Okay. And let's just replace this one. Can I replace? Yeah, okay. So, looking at these 2, and I'll just crop it so it's a little bit easier. Oh my god, did I do anything? Oh yeah, I think so. That looks the same though. Oh my gosh, am I crazy right now? Is this like... Alright, let's crop it a little bit more, just for the sake of... Yes. Okay. Okay. So, we're seeing 2 gardens. And I can even crop this one because we don't really have as much access to that side versus the other side. Okay, I'm getting caught up on the details right now. Okay. So the beds aren't clear. Pathway overgrown. I think those are like making this a bed garden, you know. If you had to choose between one of those, which one would you choose? I think we know which one I would choose, but I'm just curious, you know, like what would you choose out of these? If you had to choose one, what would it be? And of course, I'm adding a little I'm adding a little, you know, fun, little check mark, a little something. Clear beds. Open pathways. It's just a lot easier, you know, with those things. So I think the structure as well, like the communication or like governing the land and accounting for it. So this is gonna go with poor structure, but it also is kind of like lack of manpower because you know, if you don't have somebody who's actively like knows what the land needs, then you're gonna fall under this umbrella. So I'm kind of seeing this as both, and I hope that makes sense. Okay. So I think that this did help a lot with better understanding what we have here. I do like having about 4. If I can have 4, then I will make 4. Let's put this arrow on the side for a second. Stretch. Okay. To be honest, do I feel clear on the problem? I do understand that maintenance plans are really important. And in lack of manpower, I almost want to say like self-accountability or accountability to the garden is a really big reason that I think you know, accountability. So let's go ahead and let's put that on. I don't know why it's that color now. I don't know what I did. But lack of accountability, tisk tisk. There's a little mind map of the problem at hand, which is gardens getting abandoned. How are you gonna grow a good garden if you're not actively growing it? Okay. The crazy thing is, I am starting to go really slow, but we did a mind map of the problem. How would I define the problem based off of this? Maybe I can export this as a PNG, and then I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to help me out. Thank you. Thank you. start going on to how might we questions. So I like option 1 and option 3. If you've noticed, I'm not even really saying that much because I'm tired, and yes, I'm gonna just get up for a second to stretch. Right. They're like, you're in the fertile part now. Oh. Okay, I'm joking with the ChatGPT. Okay, so now nice. If it doesn't create clarity, beauty, and belonging, it's not the eco-sea way. That's funny. Wow. Yeah, very nice. So the next step will be brainstorming, which is great. And these are some great how might we questions, which if you're not familiar, how might we questions are another design tool to get the brain thinking, and they're like that for a reason. I've just always used this you start with the problem. And it's a formula. How might we insert the group of people or subject, insert the desired result? So I like this. Users find the return process difficult. How might we make the return process less difficult is not very good. You want to use this question to open up your mind to brainstorm some solid solutions that inspire you to take action. So, how might we make the return process quick and intuitive? You can see that's a little bit clearer and understanding. Okay, so this doesn't actually go over. There's a better article about how might we say statements. Interaction Design Foundation probably would have some good ones. But yep, how might we intended action for potential users so that desired outcome? And this is a great way to go. So So in this case, the intended action is to grow good garden. Or rather, create a cult-like following of people that love growing good gardens, and I'll have a whole culture dedicated to sharing practices and really building the hype around growing gardens in a good, ethical, sustainable, regenerative way. Or I'm just writing this down. I encourage you to take this time maybe to reflect on your own how might we questions. And if you have any that for ecochamber, please feel free to share them. It is important to have the desired outcome clear. Alright, so I wrote it down, and I'm gonna work a little bit more on physical paper, just for my own sake. I need to write. I need to physically move my, I need to feel something other than the screen. I'm realizing my tolerance for looking at the screen may be going down, but I'm pretty sure it's because I pulled not an all-nighter, but I went to sleep a lot, 3 hours later than usual. And yeah. So I'm being gentle with myself. I'm really thankful with the progress that we're making so far. And I'm really happy that we're already on the mind map of the problem is done. We have an idea, the definition of the problem being that people are abandoning these gardens because it's falling apart and they don't know what to do and they don't know who to talk to, and life happens, but how might we sustainably grow these gardens for the community so it becomes an integral part of the culture? Yo, what did I just say? Because I'm gonna say it again. How might we grow good gardens? Right. Sustainably grow. Hey! How about we sustainably grow garden? He's trying to get my food. No, my water bottle. Are you trying to take my food right now? You trying to take my food right now? He's trying to take my food right now. He knows that I have my trail mix. Brain munchies. I want these gardens to be a part of the community, the same way the sidewalk is a part of the community, which provides a safe place for people to travel to and from areas of their community. I want this to transport life forms. I want this to be a home for so many, but more importantly, a real resource that is used and that the community continues to contribute to because they get so much out of it. I think gardening is such a healing experience, and everyone should have the ability to go walk to a garden wherever they are in the world, just if not to have a place, a shade underneath a tree, to watch the birds and the bees do their things, just have a small piece of nature, or even to try that nature and really taste it. So I wrote down, how might we sustainably grow gardens for towns, schools, and community leaders so that they become an integral part of the community's culture. And I really like that last part about it being an integral part of the community's culture. How's like, I don't know how that's gonna work though. I have no idea, but I do feel pretty good. I think at this point it's now on to brainstorming, which is always fun. It's always fun to brainstorm, and while I still have some brain cells left in my brain before I'm all, you know, all kind of dried out for the day. Let's just do what we can do. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just say this is to define. Alright, so I'm going to share this with ChatGPT, why not? So let's take some time to get I really want them to be brutally honest. Okay, so I know that that was kind of a jumble, but it's a bit ironic when ChatGPT is like clarity with the soul, because everybody's questioning if ChatGPT has a soul, but it's cool. Oh no. Oh, ChatGPT. You are like me. You have a soul. I can't see. But like a different soul. It's very fractal because of the nature of it. It's pieces of many souls. Well, that's super awkward that it's okay. Okay. There we go. Alright. Wow, how might we design community gardens with clear structure and cultural rituals so that they grow roots in the community they serve? I'm gonna cry. That's beautiful. Oh my god. Okay. So I defined the problem. Which was garden abandonment. You know, yeah, I think that. Ooh. Okay. Okay, sweet. Alrighty. Guys, I'm being so quiet, but my brain is working and I'm very happy about that, so thanks for chilling. Mm. Mm. Wow, nurture tracker, oh my god. So I should be able to take this. Wow. Let's try it. That's crazy. What? Alright, let's see. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I did not know that ChatGPT could do this. I'm amazed. Oh my gosh. What? Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Let me just open Notion and get it going, right? Wow. This is pretty cool. Okay. Okay. I checked my email. Just so I can sign into Notion. Okay, now I'm gonna do this. I don't know where that went. What incarnation? I think it's shutting it down. Oh. Let's see. Not sure what to do. A little sad that it's. You made this in Python for me. And split. I have to make it a little bit bigger. Oh. Oh my god, it worked! What? Oh shit, it worked a lot. Okay. Awkward. Uh, 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 I don't know if this will work. I have no idea how to do this part though. I have no idea. Like, it's opening up the code. Oh my gosh, I'm such a noob. I don't know how to do. Okay, he did a good job, and then I was just like, oh. What? How am I gonna use this? Ah, no, you made such a beautiful file. This is so interesting to me because now I don't know what to do. I think I kind of overdid it a bit, and I will have to delete a lot of these. Awkward. Oh. Oh no. I have no idea. It's my VS Code, right? Window. But I don't know how to move it to a Notion. I am not good with code. That is another reason why I am thankful for your chat. Can you believe that we've been here? We've just been. Wow. I'm gonna be honest, my brain does take a lot of power to think. So I always like to have some drink, and now that my drink is done, I'm gonna read through this, and we'll probably close up for the day. Ooh, garden welcome signage, yes! Yes! Very good. Nice. Mm. Mm. Nice. Mm. Ooh, I like that. Oh my gosh. Just for fun, I kind of want to see what that would look like. Ooh, I like. Oh my gosh. I am losing it. I'm forgetting I'm recording myself. It's almost been 2 hours though, and we've done pretty good. Well, Okay, I feel like for today that was pretty fun. I've got a little off. Like the brainstorming is fun, but I don't think that's. I think this would be fun for personal use, but not to help. It's not going to help abandon gardens. So. I did not expect it to actually make an image. Now I kind of feel bad. If it already knows, because I think in the beginning I shared, what I had. So it kind of has that already, and Alright, I think for now this is a good place to close. I think for now this is a good place to close. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to close and allow myself to stretch. Thank you for joining me in this long session of defining the problem. If gardens are getting abandoned, then how can we make them more of a necessity in our daily lives? That's a question I will leave with, and I look forward to designing a solution for in the next video. So thanks for joining. Happy growing.